Well. Jules, how many times do I have to tell you? You're not involved in this. Morning motivation. I haven't done this in forever. Oh my goodness. Let me go on here and tell everyone. I've not done a morning motivation in a good minute, y'all. It's literally been years. Let me get in here. Jules, please find a hobby. Okay. Let me get this going. And it's so crazy because I was watching a video the other day that was talking about how you got to make videos. People want to see this, that, and the third. Well, I'm going to make the videos I want to make. Let me tell the chat. The crazy thing is, so many people that I see doing morning motivation, like that was super successful way back in the day, you would have scriptures a part of it, you would have verses a part of it, you would have all these different elements to kind of like bring it to life. But today, I'm definitely going to be just coming straight motivation. I was going through some of my old notes from when I used to listen to morning motivations every day. And it made me think like, okay, let me bring this to my channel. Boom. Let me bring this to my channel. Because honestly, I was watching Rhythm and Flow, and I've been talking about this show for a little bit, but I was watching Rhythm and Flow, and it was like, bro, we took what she said seriously. Let me put my mic a little far back because I don't want it to have too much of an echo. I've got another mic on top of this mic, so we're just going to use this mic. I want to kind of get started, even if no one's on the live, because I know that I'm going to save this for people to go back and watch. But honestly, I woke up this morning, and I woke up kind of early. I slept pretty well last night, but I woke up just thinking about everything that I have going on in my own personal life, everything that I've been navigating, and I thought to myself, with just motivation. So I went on and I was like, wait, this is actually like some really good stuff, and I actually need to repurpose this and give it back to people who might need it just as much or more than me. Let me get the angle right. I want to make sure the angle is good. I know that like the light source is coming from here this morning, and I'm trying to figure out how I can make that make sense for me. I'm not gonna lie, we might have to switch up the whole angle so I can give you guys this angle. This angle is a whole lot clearer. But how am I gonna do that? Jules the great kitty cat is always getting into something. Hold on. Before we get started, let me just grab a tripod and make this make a little more sense. The light is killing me. Let me grab a tripod. Alright, we're gonna get started. Cause I'm like, this lighting. I think starting your day with morning motivation, meditation, and scripture is all super valuable, and it definitely changes the trajectory of your entire day. And that's something I didn't realize until I started doing it. I can't believe that it was lost in my life at one point, but here we go, bringing it back. Hopefully my cat doesn't get too excited about this, because no one has time for him to be getting in the mix. Okay. Boom. All right, we're locked in now, y'all, because I was like, this is crazy. Absolutely insane. But we got it now. Okay, this lighting is way better. I love it. Oh man. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Boom. 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 All right, we're locked in. Maybe. If the camera stays right here. All right, now we're actually locked in. Jules, I'm gonna tell you now. Perfect. Had to push my cat because I'm gonna unplug this. Okay. Because that was a lot of work. It kept moving and moving and moving. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have time for that. Oh wow. There. Because this was getting crazy. Alright, y'all. So I was going through some of my notes, bring this to you guys. If you're just starting your day, I want to say, like, good morning. You know, for me right now, it's 8:30 a.m., which was the time I wanted to get started with this. So 8:30 start time for sure. It took me a second to get everything together, but now it's together. Y'all, I woke up this morning and I said, morning motivation is something I need to hold myself accountable to, and if I give it to the rest of the world, then maybe it will be easier for me to digest. So I was going through some notes of mine, and I figured I would just share them with you guys. And really, I want this morning motivation to focus on it's not in you, it's on you. And that was what Lotto kept saying in Rhythm and Flow. But I thought it was powerful, to be honest, after a while, because it really started to represent that no one can make it happen for you but you. It has to be something within your own spirit, within your own self. It can't be something that you're expecting other people to give to you. And that's kind of what I want to talk about in this morning motivation. One, how to build that self-confidence so that you're able to have it within yourself. And B, how to keep yourself motivated when no one else is going to motivate you. Because I don't know about you guys or, you know, who's watching this, but I really only have like a few people in my innermost circle as far as people I could look to keep me motivated, or people that I could look to encourage me when I'm feeling down. And for people that have like huge families and support systems, like, don't take it for granted. But if you don't, and you're kind of more like me, then oftentimes you find yourself being the motivation that keeps you going. And that is what I'm speaking to today, right? So the first thing that I reread that I thought was super powerful, and it reminded me of that drive that I feel like I had so heavily in the pandemic and COVID times, was that confidence is built off an experience of success. That's what I read. Confidence is built off of an experience of success. And when I read that, it resonated to me because I realized, okay, the reason why when you go into new environments you're nervous, the reason why when you try new things you don't have that confidence is because it's something that you've never experienced before, obviously. So you don't have that self-confidence behind it. But that whole statement becomes cyclical if you use the lack of experience as a reason as to why you're not doing something new. If you've never done it before and that's why you're nervous, if anything, that's just more reason to do it. Because now you know, okay, I'm only nervous because I haven't done it, so the moment I do it, now I won't be nervous. Or it'll get better at the very least. Kind of like when you jump into a pool, you know, you can dip your toe in and then it's cold for a second and then it gets warm. You can jump in and it's cold, then it's warm. However quickly or slowly you do it is up to you, but at the end of the day, once you put your foot in that water, it starts to get warm, right? That was something that I had to hold on to, because right now I'm going through a phase where I'm looking for a job, I'm doing all these different things, trying to step into new experiences that I've otherwise not been in before. And if I go into those experiences thinking, oh, I won't be successful, or oh, I'm too nervous, or oh, this is something I've never done before, then I can never put myself in a position to grow. I can never put myself in a position to get more self-confidence. You know, success breeds success. If you've done one thing successfully, then 9 times out of 10 you can figure out a formula to do something else successfully. Anytime you face self-doubt, anytime you face imposter syndrome, you need to look at your life and identify the things that you've already done successfully, and then acknowledge that if you've done those things successfully once, then you can do this new thing successfully once too. You understand? It's not like your success operates in a silo. The characteristics and traits of successful people, those characteristics and traits are universal. 9 times out of 10, it actually starts with their morning routine. What are you doing to start your day? Are you giving gratitude? Are you motivating yourself? Are you in your scripture? Are you doing the things necessary to paint the mindset of a successful person? It's all in those daily habits and routines. I find myself waking up late a lot, and when I wake up late, I feel bad sometimes because the most precious time of the day is the morning, honestly. Like, if I stay up really, really late till 4 or 5 a.m., then that's one thing. I can still have that same experience, but if you wake up early, like 5 or 6 a.m., it's the same thing. Like, starting your day before all the chaos of the world comes to hit you, or staying up late enough to have that peace in the night when no one else is awake, those times are very valuable because those moments are when you're able to listen to your subconscious mind. Those moments are when you're able to receive whatever you're supposed to receive. For some people, that might be the word of God. For some people, that might just be your innermost subconscious thoughts that you haven't fully activated or allowed yourself to hear because you were so distracted and clouded by all the things that want to get into the way of what you're needing to hear. That's just going over and over and over and over and over and over again, and making you obsess over things that are outside of your control. You know, I'm getting to an age where it's like, I really can't be worrying about things that are outside of my control. And I say this because if you do, you're giving your body unnecessary stress. I was reading one time where a study showed that someone who was told, you know, oh, their partner is cheating, here's all this evidence, whatever, someone who's told that is experiencing the same nervous system response as someone who, these simulations and these pranks and all of these things that we're doing to play with our nervous system take a real effect on it. It doesn't matter if it's perception or reality, your nervous system doesn't know the difference. And that's why it's more important now than ever to protect your peace. When I say protect your peace, I mean, don't go on social media and digest any and everything, comparing yourself to people willy-nilly or letting it affect your day-to-day. You can't do that. You know, you can't be the person that is digesting everything like a trash can with no lid, letting things come into your space, into your psyche, into your energy that have no business being there. Some people are capable of turning that switch off and not paying attention to the noise when they scroll. But other people consistently get distracted by it, and they need to actually detach or unplug from these platforms because they're incapable of guarding themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we have to be aware of what type of people we are, and we have to build a morning routine around it so that it makes sense. Build a morning routine where in the morning, if you know you're incapable of digesting social media without it affecting your whole entire day, give yourself 1 hour in the morning where you're not going to look at social media. You know, give yourself that time so that you can actually be your most productive self every single day. That's so important, y'all. Like, the days that go by and you can't even say what you did during those days are the worst days. You cannot just be wasting away every single day, letting, you know, life pass you by willy-nilly. You have to take command of your life, because if you don't take command of your life, no one else will. And that's something that you have to actually get aggressive about. I want you guys to understand that momentum is a series of gradual success. So a lot of people wonder, okay, how am I going to get momentum on social media? How am I going to get momentum at my job? How am I going to get momentum in this relationship? You understand? How am I going to get momentum in any aspect of my life? Because we see maybe these other people, or we know of this concept where things are flowing abundantly. And that's almost like the definition of momentum, right? Just abundance flowing consistently, right? How do we achieve momentum? We achieve momentum in our lives through a series of success. They might be small successes. How do we build small success? Well, we break it down into manageable pieces. Okay, again, it starts with your morning routine. So if I woke up today and I said, look, I've got something on my heart, something on my spirit, I want to come motivate the people, right? I come and I take action. So now I've started my day with a win, right? I'm streaming, I'm talking about good stuff, I'm giving something back to the people. Now that's one win. Win number 2, okay, I'm gonna make a good breakfast, probably go get an iced coffee, really just do boom, 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 boom the day, you get me? After that, oh my gosh, right? Maybe I'll go to the gym, right? So now I've started my day with morning motivation. I went and got a coffee after. I'm at the gym now. Okay, now I'm in momentum. You understand? Now I've got a flow going. Now I can make the most out of this day. A lot of people say like different words for this. Get momentum going, get in a groove, get, you know, whatever the case might be, but as humans we have to understand that we're not able to just snap and get right to it all the time. Sometimes you have to baby step your way into the success that you desire, and that starts again with your routine and then your consistency behind this routine. Do not develop a routine that you're incapable of maintaining. That's not going to help anyone, right? Do not start a routine that you're unable to consistently stick by. It's detrimental to yourself, it's detrimental to your accountability partners, and you're lying to yourself if you think you can do something at level 100 when you're just starting out. You have to build yourself up, okay? Establish small goals and then build from the small goals. And when it comes to any commitments that you have with other people, you need to under promise and over deliver every single time. I'm being so serious about this because one thing that I've noticed, right, is when I make promises that are super exorbitant, super big, but then I fail or I fall through on those promises. First of all, when the feat is larger, it's easier to get discouraged. It's easier to say, okay, I'm not going to do it today. Okay, I'm going to put it off until tomorrow because it's such a big task, first of all. But second of all, if I've now made a promise to someone else and I'm unable to deliver that promise, now not only have I let myself down, but I've let them down too. Under promise and over deliver. And when it comes to yourself, break up your goals into small achievable successes that build up to the overall momentum that you're looking to achieve. Again, let's go back to my example. I start the day streaming morning motivation. A, B, then I go get a coffee. Okay, now I've got the coffee. Then I go to the gym. Then I have a meeting. Now I'm applying to jobs. You understand? I start the day a certain way and I build up my momentum to the main task of the day, which for me, specifically today, is job applications. So I start the day doing something like this, getting my mind going, getting my ambition high, getting my motivation, my body some caffeine because I like that, okay? Then maybe I go to the gym so that I can get that energy pumping, that blood flowing. Now I'm ready to have my meeting. Now after my meeting's out the way, now I'm ready to sit down and focus on my own specific goals, which is job applications. Now it's 3 o'clock and I've already achieved 5-6 wins for the day. I'm in momentum. This is how we have to start our day, especially if we're living on social media, especially if we're world to anyone but ourselves, or the people that we have to be accountable to. We've already figured out how to keep them happy. You have to be someone that shows up, guys. And I tell myself this every single day. And a lot of us destroy our self-confidence by remembering our past failures instead of focusing on the wins. But what you don't understand is that every single failure that you've gone through was in preparation for the next win. You can never accomplish things, you can never see win after win after win if you've not had failures along the way. Because how are you supposed to figure out what the win is? How am I supposed to figure out that 2 + 2 = 4 unless I know that 2 + 1 doesn't? Unless I know that 1 + 1 doesn't? I had to fail a couple of times before I reached that win. Burdening yourself and you're making yourself sad by remembering the past times when you failed, but realistically you never fail until you quit. If you're still going on the journey, if you're still trying, then did you really fail, or was it just part of the process that you had to go through, the tribulations for the testimony? If I'm trying to get a job, right, and I apply to jobs every single day, and I'm hearing no, have I failed to get a job? No, because I'm still trying to get a job. I'm still applying for jobs. So no, I've not failed to get a job because the story is not over. Do you understand? Does that make sense to you guys? The story is not over, so you never could have failed. If you look at something that you've been a part of in the past, and that thing that you were a part of in the past wasn't successful or didn't go the way you wanted it to go, that too wasn't even a failure. It was just something to work out. If you focus on the things that are negative, then you're never going to get to that positive. And the power of your mind, you cannot sell that short, you guys. Literally no other creature, no other mammal has the thinking capacities that we have here as humans. Don't take it for granted. The reason that you're able to think about something is because you're capable of becoming it. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. All of those like platitudes, but the reason that those phrases exist is because they're true. If you really conceptualize something for yourself, you focus on it and you make it your number one goal to achieve it every single day through a series of small wins until you build your momentum, then there's no way that you won't achieve that goal one day. Now, it might not be on your timing, but if you're a religious person, understand it will be on God's timing. If you're not a religious person, understand it will be on the timing that's in perfect alignment with the things that you actually need to receive. It might not be what you thought, but it's what needs to happen. Is that making sense to you guys? You cannot let your ego and, your pride get in the way of you stepping outside your comfort zone and doing the things that you're ultimately meant to do. You can't do it. The reality that you live in this world is 90% made up of the subconscious thoughts that you allow to craft it. So what you put in your subconscious is what's crafting your reality 90%, right? So let me unpack that some more, right? If you're on Instagram doom scrolling every single day, allowing whatever you see on the timeline to enter your subconscious with no type of mediation, actively scrolling, right? And you're a young girl, and for whatever reason, your timeline is full of BBLs and 304s, right? In your subconscious mind, if you're internalizing that, and then you go out into the world, you're going to look at every single relationship you see as potentially transactional, just like the ones that you've been digesting subconsciously on the internet. Now, am I saying this is a bad thing? In this situation, yes. Everything you digest subconsciously is not bad, though. But the question is, what are you giving access to your subconscious mind? If I'm out here on the internet and I'm doom scrolling, best believe I'm doom scrolling on a motivation page or someone who is super successful, so that at the very worst case, what's entering my subconscious mind is something that I can use as fuel for the future. If what you're digesting are just the opinions and thoughts of a bunch of people that you don't know, a bunch of people with no credentials, a bunch of people that don't matter, then you can't be surprised by your own opinions. You're unable to craft your own thoughts. You're unable to sit down and do any real deductive reasoning on your own because subconsciously you're so used to it being fed to you. And you don't even know why you have those opinions. You don't even know why you have those thoughts. No Tino shade, but Nara Smith, right? She came onto the internet. She used to be on Tumblr and stuff, but for whatever reason, she came onto, Instagram and swept the world by storm once again. TikTok and Instagram, right? And I have nothing against young Nara, right? But if you're just digesting her content subconsciously, then you're looking at her life like, oh my gosh, this dainty, feminine mother, like that makes everything from scratch, da 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 da. But if you actually mitigate that going into your subconscious mind and you look at it like spade for a spade, it's kind of like, okay, you have this 23-year-old German and black model that moved to America to marry this guy named Lucky. They're Mormon. She's been having kids back to back for the last 3 years. They've only been married for 4 years. They're clearly very conservative, which probably aligns with their political views. Okay, these people are not people I would probably hang out with in real life. It's okay for me to consume this as entertainment, but never will I ever let this go into my subconscious mind and craft or shape the way that I look at my own relationships. The problem with social media these days is that people are subconsciously digesting things and then, whether they realize it or not, using it to shape the reality of their own lives. And that's not productive when our lives are nothing like theirs. Does that make sense? So I say that because we're in control of it. If you watch these creators and you watch with discernment, you watch with an aware eye, you're not just doom scrolling to pass the time, then you're going to be more aware of these things when you're on these platforms. And that's going to be helpful for you in the long run, to be completely honest with you. So it doesn't matter how many times you failed in life as long as you reach that successful attempt. No one is going to be going back in time and looking at, first of all, let's talk about YouTube, right? I come on here all the time. I've been making videos for a very long time, right? If I go viral one day and I get that first million views on a video, right? And people come to my page and they see all my other videos. They're going to watch them, right? No one is going to be looking for that video that got 2 views. Be on top of the mind. Like, no one is going around looking for, oh, wait, where did they fail? Where did they fail? 9 times out of 10, people don't even show the whole journey. They erase it. Let's be very clear about that. Most times people go back and actually erase the freaking journey. You know what I mean? And when they erase the journey, it makes it hard to not think that people are overnight successes. But I promise you, 9 times out of 10, unless it's an industry plant, people are not overnight successes. People have trials and tribulations. They work for their success. They work to get where they are in one capacity or another. And if they allow that to be traceable or documented, then you'll realize that none of the failures mattered once you reached the success. So, anyone that wants to be successful must be willing to fail 99 times before winning 1 time, and you cannot have any ego damage because of it, right? Look at this live even, right? I could have 1 person on this live, I'm still going to put this content out there. You know, you cannot have an ego when you are trying to change your life. You know, I'm just being completely honest with you. If you want to change your current situation, if you don't like where you're currently at in your life or whatever the case might be, you cannot let your ego damage you. Even when I was a part of platforms I shouldn't have been a part of, doing things I shouldn't have been doing, you know, and things went left, I couldn't let it damage my ego, you know, and I've been to therapy several times. I'm honest about that, right? But let me tell you that I let hang around me for a while, right? A couple months ago. And that girl went on my YouTube channel, scrolled back 10 years, y'all. 10 years. Just to be like, look at this weirdo. She was making skits talking to herself. Yes, when I was 16, I was making skits talking to myself on YouTube. And yes, those videos are public. You know what I mean? Like, no tea, no shade, but I've been making videos for a while, and whether it's 1 person watching, 100 people watching, or 1,000,000 people watching, it's something I like to do, so I'm going to keep showing up, right? That day that video does have 1,000,000 views or does get more traction than the other videos, no one is going to be going back 10 years ago to laugh at those videos. They're going to be going back 10 years ago to watch those videos to see the process of how I got to where I was in that moment. Everyone loves to see someone's journey. No one likes to see an overnight success. So I can never be shamed by the things that I've done in my past. And you can never allow your ego to be so big that it actually starts to hurt you. Once your ego starts stopping you from stepping outside your comfort zone, once your ego starts stopping you from doing something that would potentially make a fool of you, the moment that your ego stops you from putting yourself out there when deep down inside you truly want to. And when I heard that, my mind was blown. Like, ego stands for etching God out. Etching meaning scraping him out of your life. Like, if you are a religious person in any capacity, it's like, what is the ego? The ego is that second voice that's trying to come in the way between you and God and tell you what you're really supposed to do, or how you're really supposed to act, or how you're really supposed to feel. Understand that ego is just trying to get in the way of the success that you're meant to have. You have to remove ego from every situation if you want to be truly successful. That's actually the definition of humility. And we all know that humility goes with gratitude, and the most grateful people are the most successful people, or at least should be, right? Now let's move on to self-acceptance, right? First, we started this with self-confidence, right? Self-confidence is that if you just joined the live too, you can go back. But we started with self-confidence, right? Understanding that and why it's key in you being successful. Self-confidence is built through a repeated series of success. Now let's move on to self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is accepting yourself, ego to be the person that you're supposed to be. So no real success or genuine happiness is possible until a person experiences a new degree of acceptance. If for whatever reason you're trying to remember anything from this live, like, write that down, right? No real success or genuine happiness is possible until a person experiences a new degree of self-acceptance. So what does that mean, right? Self-acceptance is the act or state of accepting and understanding one's self-abilities and limitations. So our ego is this sort of fake thing that we've created, right? That gets in the way of us and God's will. It's disruptive. ego is usually self-limiting, whether we realize it or not. You feel like you're so this, so you can't be with that, or you're so this, so you can't do that, right? Ego is self-limiting, even though when we are in our ego, we view it as self-boosting, right? So what is self-acceptance? Self-acceptance is, thank you, Lavish Waters. Self-acceptance is throwing that ego to the side, right? But still being in tune with yourself enough to know your strengths and weaknesses, right? Just because I say throw out the ego, just because I say have self-confidence, just because I say self-confidence is built over a series of successes, doesn't mean that you're going out into the world willy-nilly without any preparation, just freestyling, okay? That's not what that means, okay? What it means is self-confident thing. I've done this well X amount of times, therefore I'm confident. Versus ego is just unprecedented. It's just coming out of nowhere. And again, 9 times out of 10, it's more limiting than it is, uplifting. Now, that no one can teach you, okay? That's something inside of yourself. And when I say no one can teach you, I'm about to teach you. But you have to actually employ these efforts and see it within yourself as well, right? Self-acceptance is I'm fully aware of what I'm good at, and I'm fully aware of what I need to work on. I'm self-aware, and I'm willing to take the steps. I accept myself for that, and I'm willing to take the steps necessary to be whoever it is that I need to be, right? So self-acceptance, by definition, is the act or state of accepting, understanding one's self-abilities and limitations. The most miserable people are the ones who continually attain and strive to convince themselves and others that they are something other than what they are, okay? So the most miserable people continually attain and strive to convince themselves and others that they are something other than what they are. And that's why we have to be real with ourselves, where we are in life, what we have. Then how are you supposed to determine where you're going? Literally, if you don't know where you're starting from, how are you supposed to determine where you're going? So we have to have a level of self-acceptance. These are my flaws. These are my strengths. This is where I'm trying to go, and this is where I am. That's how we know what the plan is. If you don't know the plan, then that's where you got to start, okay? Changing your self-image doesn't mean you're changing yourself, okay? Self-image is your mind. So there's a difference between the way you see yourself and the way things are potentially. And if there's a disconnect there, then you have to do a self-analysis to figure out where those disconnects are. And that can be hard, but step number 1 is meditation and removing all of the chitta, as my mom used to call it, right? Shout out to my grandmother. It's her birthday today. May she rest in peace. But literally, it's called chitta. You can Google it. CHITTA. And it's this concept of just noise, right? All this noise that can enter your psyche or your subconscious mind. And if you're doom scrolling all the time, if you're around a bunch of people that don't uplift you all the time, right? If you're not digesting valuable information on a consistent basis, then your mind is going to be filled with what's called chitta. You might feel like ADHD borderline almost. If you didn't before, now you do, and you're like, where did this come from? That's chitta, right? If you constantly are shaking, or you feel restless, or you feel not at ease all the time, and you never felt like that before, and you're wondering why you feel like that, guys, it's chitta. It's all this noise that's entering your subconscious mind because you have not given it time to flesh out. That means that you need to stop doom scrolling, be intentional every time you scroll, and be completely cognizant of what you're digesting. And you also need to literally just meditate. No tea, no shade. You just need to sit there, you need to meditate, and you need to ask yourself, okay, what am I hearing? There was a song my mom made, actually, and she was like, do you hear the higher call? Can you hear the higher call that's meant for you? And the true test of that is when you sit in silence, what are you hearing? Are you hearing TikTok sounds? Are you craving to scroll like this? Are you stimming? You know what I mean? Or are you genuinely able to clear your mind out silent and just hear what's meant for you? That is the difference between your self-image and who you really are. Is your self-image clouded, or do you know who you are, right? The best version of you doesn't take days off. Now, what I mean by that is every single day you're going one step further, because people use terminology or phrases like that, like never take days off, to promote people overworking and burning themselves out 9 times out of 10 for the benefit of an MLM or a program or something like that. And that's not what I'm trying to push here. Who doesn't take days off in the sense that you're always pouring into yourself. You're always finding a way to give yourself something that you otherwise wouldn't have. You're always finding ways to be more successful than you otherwise would have been, right? You're always trying to uplift and empower the people around you. I'm making sure my cat is not getting into trouble, but you know, he probably is. There's an affirmation I have for you guys if you're into that, or just something that you can repeat to yourself in your spare time if you want to empower and uplift yourself. All the world's strengths and powers reside in me. So I am more than I appear to be. All the world's strengths and powers reside in me. And the moment that you start to believe that for yourself, the moment you're going to start seeing it happen in your life, right? Stop identifying with your faults. And this is something that I actually have to work on. I'm not going to lie. And I didn't realize that this was something that I have to work on in a state of, like, when people would come criticize me or when people would come, you know, critique me. I used to get so in my feelings about it. I didn't like confrontation. I didn't like any of that because it felt like, are you coming for my person? Like, are you coming for me as a person right now? Like, just because you told me you don't like the way I made this food, or you don't like the way that I did X, Y, and Z? And the answer is no. You are not your faults. And I think a lot of times we think or we identify with our image. It leads to negative self-confidence. It really just makes everything. You've made a mistake in the past. If you've done something that you shouldn't have done in the past, I promise you right now, and I don't know if you needed to hear this today, but Danny is telling you right now, you are not your mistakes, bro. You are not your faults. The things that you've done that were not the best is not what makes you you, okay? You're not your faults. And I tell myself this a lot because I've been in some sticky situations, I'm not going to lie. I've had some questionable things happen. And it's easy to try to identify with your faults, but you are not your worst moment. You are not the worst thing that you've ever done. I promise you, you're not. So, let's keep going. We all know that we're spirit and body. We're a physical being having a spiritual experience, right? And if you don't believe that for yourself, then just take any moment of quiet, bro, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I was watching something the other day, right? And I think this is such a powerful story, but Albert Einstein, as you guys know, like created electricity or, whatever he did, right? So it's like, no, I'm joking. We all know what Albert Einstein did. But did you know that when he was interviewed and he was talking about just his creative process, like how did you create freaking electricity? Like, first of all, where are the new inventions these days? Side note, right? Because I got 5 people on the live. Like, where are the new inventions these days? Like, the iPhone only gets 1 standard deviation better every single year, if that. Like, where is our big new invention? And AI is not it. I'm telling y'all that right now, right? Electricity, things that we can't even conceptualize right now need to be invented right now. Just like back then, they couldn't conceptualize the telephone. They couldn't conceptualize electricity, but it got created, right? They said, right, in the interview that basically he said he went to bed thinking of a problem. He wanted to stay up longer. He needed electricity, right? So he went to bed thinking about the problem with a clear mind. When you go to bed, you enter that dream state, whatever. Your dream state is so funny because what you're really doing when you sleep is you're turning off your conscious mind. That's all you're doing. You're turning off your conscious mind because your conscious mind is a battery. That battery, it gets dead. Your subconscious mind is always running, right? Which is why it's so important to be careful about what you feed it. That's why doom scrolling makes you feel exhausted even if you've never done anything that day, right? So listen, that subconscious mind is still active while you're dreaming. What is it doing? It's ruminating and it's thinking about what you've left it with. What did you leave your subconscious mind with to deal with overnight? Did you leave it with a bunch of Instagram reels that you didn't consciously observe, so now your subconscious mind has to do it? Or did you leave it with a problem that you can't consciously come up with a solution of, but subconsciously you might be able to? Einstein said he went to sleep thinking about the problem, and he woke up with the solution. Let that sit for a second. He said he went to bed with the problem, and he woke up with the solution. I want you guys to understand that all the answers that you're looking for in your life are within you. The question is, are you giving your subconscious mind enough space to deliver you those answers? Now, for some, it can be as simple as me saying it like that. For some, you can also integrate God and say that God delivers those answers to your subconscious. Yeah. Let me know if you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? Let me know. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? All right, bet. Thank you for saying that. Aw, not y'all actually listening. But anyway, yeah, what I was saying is, like, you can literally trick yourself into success, you know, and I know that sounds really crazy, but our brain, they've studied it, and they still haven't even studied half of it. You get me? But one thing we know for sure is, like, if you wake up every single day and you look in the mirror and you say, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm not successful, then not only are you probably going to get fat, ugly, and unsuccessful, but you're going to start believing it. And I don't know if any of you guys dealt with any type of, like, childhood, like, not necessarily trauma, but unhealthy parent dynamics. Excuse me. Where your parents literally, like, you ain't shit, you ain't never gonna be shit. If you don't do this, you're gonna be a failure. You're gonna put the family name to shame. Like, if you ever had that type of harsh parenting, you know that it can affect you. It can make you be like, wait, am I really that bad? You know what I mean? So the power of the tongue is very real. Do not go in the mirror saying you suck or you're this or you're that. Don't describe something as bad before it happens. I know so many people where, you know, before something happens, they're already talking negative over it. Oh, well, the interview didn't go that well. I'm probably not going to get the job. What? Now, even if the interview did go badly, right? Chill out. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean that you're being delusional, but you have to leave space to expect a miracle. You have to leave space to expect the unexpected. You are not all-knowing, which means that you can't speak about something until it happens. One thing I've stopped doing is calling things negative before they happen. I've not ever written myself off before I've been written off. Just like you can't, you know, if you don't ask, you don't receive, that type of concept, you have to realize, like, if I tell the producer, oh yeah, no, my audition was ass, I actually don't think I deserve the role. What? Just because the interview wasn't that good doesn't mean you don't deserve the job. Maybe you just didn't have your best interview because you know what you're capable of. That's a different story. Now go coach and train yourself so that the next interview is better. That doesn't mean write yourself off and say, oh, you're not going to get the job. Oh, you suck. Oh, you can't do anything right. Absolutely not. You have to talk yourself out of that negative self-talk. When I was younger, I used to always say, poor Danny, when things wouldn't go my way. And I had to train myself out of that because poor is a mentality. Yes, like, you know, poor Danny, like what? No. Rich Danny, first of all, and if not rich, it's all about the things that you tell yourself. You need to starve your distractions and feed your goals. If you want to be successful on social media, or if you want to get a job, or whatever the case might be, go get that certification, go to that program, go feed the things that are going to pay you back, and starve the things that are only sucking from you. And sometimes that can be hard because 9 times out of 10, depending on the type of person you are, honestly, the things that distract you or the things that take away from you, in a weird, twisted way, sometimes those are your safe spaces, right? Maybe you like to get high every single day, but you know it's not helping you, but when you get high, you feel good. Or at least when you're high, no one is, you know, talking negatively towards you, or you don't feel inadequate, or you don't feel this, or you don't feel that. You're masking something, right? Or maybe it's just fun and you want to have fun. You don't want to focus on hard things. But even if that's the case, right, you don't want to focus on hard things. Why? Is it because you think that you're not capable of achieving them? You don't want to focus on hard things. Why? Because it takes energy and strength. Do you not have energy and strength? Are you not blessed? Are you not grateful that you have energy and strength? Why is it that you don't want to do the hard things and you would rather go get high? I'm not saying that that's everyone's example. I think a lot of people can get high and still be successful, but I'm just using it as an example. Or it's a partner and you know, have sex or whatever, and yeah, sure, maybe it feels good, but you know that it's never going to negatively contributing to your well-being, but you still go there because they're always going to open the door, and they're always going to pick up my call, and the sex isn't that bad. What? Can you not go get something better? Yes, you can. But what? You just don't want to go through the work? Why don't you want to go through the work? Were you not built to go through the work? Do you not have the strength to go through the work? And if you feel like the answer is no to those questions, then let's focus on that. Let's build that strength back up, right? Let's build that endurance back up. Let's build that self-esteem back up, pretty girl. Because why don't you think you can go do better? You know what I mean? Let's focus on the root cause of why we do all of these things, why we indulge in all of these distractions. Because if you knew, let me ask you guys a question. Okay, let me ask you a question. If you knew that every single goal that you had, if you knew that every single thing that you wanted to achieve was undeniably 100% guaranteed to happen if you do X, Y, and Z, would you do it? Think about it. If you knew you have a goal of $1 million, right? If someone told you, yeah, if you show up every single day, that $1 million is guaranteed, would you show up every day? A lot of you are thinking, yes, you would show up every single day. That's a no-brainer, of course. But guess what? When you give someone $1 million, but they're not prepared with how to deal with $1 million, it's going to run through their fingers like a dollar would. This has been proven. This has been shown. If your goal is a perfect relationship, you want to be married, right? If someone gives you the perfect man, but you're not equipped, or a perfect woman, but you're not equipped with how to deal with a healthy, wholesome relationship, it's going to slip through your fingers just like that toxic one did. You have to understand that success is not just a state of being. Success is a mindset. Success is, again, like we said at the beginning of this morning motivation, right? Built off of habits. Confidence is built off of a series of success. Getting that first success, right? When you get it, simply repeat it and then continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Break it down into manageable pieces. You have to train yourself to success. And it sounds piece by piece by piece by piece. And that's why they always tell you an overnight success does not exist. Have you ever seen a one-hit wonder? Why do you think that happens? Have you ever seen an industry plant, Ice Spice? Have you ever wondered why they fail or they fall out of the limelight? Because it was given, not earned. Do you understand? It was given, not earned. And when things are given and not earned, they fall through your fingers. Success is earned, not given. Success is successes through a series of repeated habits. I mean, that's redundant because a habit is obviously repeated, but it's achieved through habits, consistent habits, right? These are the breeding grounds of success. And once you realize that, you can start to romanticize that process. Fall in love with the trials and tribulations because they're leading you to the testimony. Fall in love with every single job application that tells you no, because that's just another setup for the yes that's eventually going to come. Imagine if someone told you you have to get through 100 no job applications in order to get to the one yes. How quickly would you do those 100 job applications to get those 100 no's? You would do it in a heartbeat. You would say, let me go, 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 go. Because you know you're going to get that yes. The unknowing aspect is what holds so many of us back. But just like you can't worry about things outside of your control, you cannot hold yourself back because of the unknown. Just because you show up at 50%. Just because you don't know something doesn't mean that you show up at 40%. Because if you were in tune with your subconscious mind, if you believed in the mission that God had for you, if you believed that what you think about is what you become, whether it's God or the law of attraction for you, whatever the case might be, if you truly believed in that, then you would already know that your time is coming. You would already know that your success is already written. You just have to get to that page. You would already know. And that's why when I was doing some of the most exhausting work of my life, one thing that was always told was, it's already done. And that was because if you wake up every single day moving like your destiny is already written, like your goals are already achieved, then all you're going to do is like clockwork, go through the habitual routine to get to that end point because you already know it's there. If you know that the apple is at the top of the tree, then why would you stop climbing? I would climb over time because I know it's up there. That's how you have to. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. Really let that sink in, right? It sounds good, but like think about what I'm saying. It's easy to wake up and come on here and do a morning motivation. It was. But you know what also is easy? To stay in bed and not do it. If I'm doing it with the automatic expectation of 100 viewers, now I'm distracted. I'm discouraging about the lack of viewers instead of the presence of viewers. If I'm thinking about it like my goal is to get a word out, I don't care about that. If I'm saying my goal is to build consistency on my YouTube channel, then I don't care about that. Even if I say that my goal is to have X amount of subscribers or whatever the case might be, still doesn't matter what the view, like, none of that, you understand? And even at the very least, 0 views, I got the routine, the habit, the practice in making the video. And if I ever, and when I reach that subscriber number, right, what will I need? The skill set to do exactly that. So even if you're not in full force yet, it's practice, it's preparation. And you have to romanticize that. So with that being said, right, make sure you have the capacity to enjoy. You know, make sure you romanticize the process that you're going through, because if you don't, no one else will. I've been on here for like an hour, you know, so let me go ahead and wrap up. But just know this, right? If you're uncertain, it's because you're afraid of making mistakes. But mistakes are the breeding ground for success. You can only find the success if you find the mistakes. No one was an overnight success. I promise you that. And if it's an industry plant or a one-hit wonder, then that's because it was given, not earned. But long-time success is earned, not given. So with that being said, you know, I appreciate you guys for coming on here and tapping in with me for this morning motivation. A quick little hour ting. If you're watching the recording, leave me a comment. Let me know if any of this resonated with you, because I do want to come on here and bring back morning motivation. Some part of me thought, like, okay, if I'm no longer doing network marketing, let me not come do morning motivations. I don't want people to think I'm just BSing them and just talking. But never was it ever giving just talking. You know, we're on here to honestly give people something that they might be missing. So if this helped you at all, let me know. But I appreciate all of you guys that did watch and engage this morning, and I will see you guys in the next one.